Hey everyone. So thanks very much for joining us again. And we have a little bit of a different chat here. I'm speaking with the program director from one of our IHP comparative programs. So Katy, would you like to tell me a little bit about yourself and your role here at SIT?
Sure. Hi, my name is Katy de la Garza, and I am half Costa Rican, half Mexican. But I've been living in the US now on and off for more than 10 years. And I have 20 plus years of experience and interest always working with social justice initiatives and international development. And so my background comes from having worked in microfinance and eco-enterprise initiatives. Also, I've worked a lot with rural community development, with the Peace Corps also in Costa Rica and in Mexico. And then I also worked for the Nature Conservancy, looking also at how to work with indigenous peoples groups. And I ended up doing a doctorate in education, but I'm much more of an academic practitioner. And that's what brought me to the IHP SIT family, because I was able to put in my academic knowledge, but also my practitioner knowledge in this great program called Social Entrepreneurship for the new IHP program. We just launched it this fall, 2016.
So thank you very much for taking some time with me today. I know the program directors do have a busy schedule, and I appreciate you being willing to talk with me. I'm going to launch right into the questions here. So what would you say makes your program here at SIT, at the IHP Social Entrepreneurship Program, unique?
Well, our program is actually pretty unique. It not only in its approach, but also in its contents and definitely in its coursework. We, as other SIT programs, we offer a critical approach to social entrepreneurship. And the countries we visit, the organizations and enterprises that we have access to, the assignments also provide like students with analytical tools, but also practical tools. Some examples I can give you is through the coursework. So we have 4 courses. One of them is the social entrepreneurship course, which in global comparative context, that's the full name of it. And the idea is that we look at the concept of social entrepreneurship critically. So we analyze it as a movement. We analyze the definitions, the models, the opportunities, the challenges, the critiques. And we have 4 main themes that we look at this through, which is food and agriculture, environment, social and financial inclusion, and health and education. And we're always thinking of who are the designers of these interventions? What are the funding models? Are they scalable? Do they actually have a social impact? Who's measuring? So all those questions go into that, that's the core class. Then we have an anthropology course, which is called Anthropology and Social Change. And that one is much more, even though it's a research methods course, the idea is also that we begin to question who are these entrepreneurs and why is social entrepreneurship developing in these different countries and cultures. So we look at that there. Then we have a 3rd course on design thinking and human-centered design. And there we also are looking at the enterprises and the interventions and thinking, who designs this? And we provide students tools that whatever you design, whether you're going to do a project, an app, any kind of intervention later on in your career, you should have the beneficiary at the core. So how do you do that? And we look at designs that have worked, but also those that have failed. There's a lot to learn from failure too. And we also have a 4th course called the Technology Change and Innovations class. And there we look at technologies digital and non-digital. And we're trying to see how these technologies through social entrepreneurship are bringing about social change or not in very different contexts, and how this impact is being measured. So that makes it pretty unique because it is a lot of analytical methods, but there's also tools, more practical tools that can benefit you when you leave college and go out to your professional careers.
That does make it definitely very unique there. So I know through my work here at SIT that your program goes through Brazil, Uganda, and India, if I'm not mistaken. What are the benefits for a student to study these themes and have these thematic seminars in those countries?
So what I think is pretty cool is that since it's a new program, we're creating it very much as if I was me and like our great team that we have of 20 people working on this in the different countries. We're doing it as if this was our experience. And each one of these countries is pretty unique. And I say within the countries, I also include the US, and that's why we launched in San Francisco. And the San Francisco area offers a lot of innovation going on, definitely with the tech sector in Silicon Valley. But also it shows a lot of the main pressing social issues in the US. So we definitely explore things like homelessness, environmental sustainability, food safety, healthcare, incarceration, immigration. So that's where we begin to look at the social enterprise landscape. And from there, students, even though it's only 2 weeks, the launch of the program, from there you begin to see that even in the US, a lot of these issues are present, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs trying to address them. You will also see that in the US, there's a lot of entrepreneurs working with other countries. So it's a good launching point to see, local issues, but also things that are going on in the countries that we're going to. And then as we move into India and Brazil, those 2 countries are the ones with the most Ashoka Fellows, which are fellows that are awarded because of social enterprise innovation. And there you'll see, the students will see, a lot of different enterprises, nonprofit, for-profit, there's hybrids of those, that are working with the bottom of the pyramid, with a lot of the people at the poorest socioeconomic levels, and trying to see how to bring more well-being in these areas that I mentioned before, whether it's social and financial inclusion, whether it's environment, education, health. And so those 2 countries, the idea is that you are in big cities, but then we also do excursions, as they call them, or site visits, and we leave the cities to also go see what has been going on with this migration of rural to urban, what exactly are the most pressing social issues, and how are entrepreneurs addressing them. Uganda is a pretty unique space to go to, because Uganda has been called the most entrepreneurial country in the world last year. So there's a lot of entrepreneurship going on there, but now a lot of them are directing it towards more social issues. So we'll get to see a more nascent social enterprise kind of environment. And there's also one site visit there into rural areas that we go to the Millennium Development Villages. So to also see more projects that are imposed from the outside and projects that are creating hybrids from, okay, we'll learn from that and we'll create something more local. So it's all of these countries just bring in a lot of mixtures of all of these models, some imposed from above, top down, bottom up. And we do see a lot of very small entrepreneurs, and those that you can debate, are they scalable or not? And is that a social enterprise because it can't scale or not? So a lot of these debates is what we're gonna go into, and these countries allow us to engage and to have students really live through experiential learning what are the main challenges that these populations are facing at the bottom of the pyramid.
If that is a very fascinating topic that I want to sign up for your program now. So I'm going to make you hone in a little bit, as any good interviewer would do. And I want to know, what one thing do you find most exciting about your program and why?
One thing? Well, I think that one thing that's different, I think, about our program is that definitely we look at the complexity of these issues and how difficult they are to tackle with, and how many actors, how many systematic structures are involved in them. So that's always something that as an IHP program and SIT program we do, and we show the complexity. But this program also shows hope. I think it's a pretty hopeful program in the sense that, not that we're saying we're not offering necessarily solutions, but we are looking at a lot of particular cases of organizations, people, hybrid models or partnerships between government, business sector, and the nonprofit sector that are really addressing a lot of the social and economic and environmental issues in very innovative ways. And so I think that hopefully students will come out of this very inspired, and also to whatever career they decide to pursue, whether it's economics, whether they're going to be engineers or health practitioners or policymakers. If you have this chip on that you can always contribute to social justice, I think that you will feel compelled to act. So I think that if there's something that is pretty unique about this one, is that we hope that once you finish these amazing traveling through all these countries and experiential learning and living with the homestay families and interacting with your group and the faculty, that you'll feel compelled to act. So I think that's what makes it pretty unique.
And that's a perfect segue into my last question here for you. If you had to name another one thing question, if you had to name one thing that you really wish students would take away from the program, is it that they feel compelled to act, or is it something else?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that yes, there's multiple. One of the other things, what I think is so great about the cross-cultural and the not only seeing a theme in one country, which that's also very valuable, but the really cool thing about the comparative lens is that you get to see that there are multiple ways of being and knowing, and that social entrepreneurship in some countries doesn't even mean anything because the word doesn't even translate. But the idea of having these enterprises or these organizations trying to bring about social justice is something that really, I think that students will see that we need many more change makers in this world, and that they can actually be one. I mean, there's a lot of people with much less resources than the people that are here in the US in these great colleges, and they've done it. So it's like, what excuse do you have, right? So hopefully you'll come out saying, I can be one of those change makers.
Well, thank you very much again for giving so many interesting tidbits about the new social entrepreneurship program. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to end the interview with?
No, I mean, just one last note. I think that the word social entrepreneurship sometimes is very loaded, and sometimes it takes people, it is not this program is not to necessarily make you a social entrepreneur. It is through looking at examples of this field movement organizations, is hopefully to see that the landscape that before was very much defined into private, public, or business, governments, and nonprofit or third sector now has these like blurry lines. And that's what this program is about, to show you the blurry lines, to show you successes, failures, design. So I think it's people who are interested in not only, it is not necessarily only for people who want to do management or economics, or it is for sociologists, it is for policy studies, it is for environmental studies. So I think take a look and ask us more questions. I mean, I'm available also, and I know that others can be available just for questions, or alumni now that we have our first group, they're very available too. So we'll be happy to answer anything like that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and I wish you a very successful semester.
Thank you so much.
You have a good day.
You too.